Okay, welcome back. We talked about how you can drop one of the lines in this thing for a type of shortcut. It's not that much. And so the next one we're going to talk about is how to do bulk inserts. Now, I don't actually have a table to do this, so we're going to fake it. So let's just say you had like an old student table. Okay, just bear with me. So I would do insert into student like normal, right? This part stays roughly the same. And, you know, I would still use the same, I'm going to go grab this stuff because I don't like typing. All right, this part stays the same. And then I'm going to use a nested query, okay? So instead of using the values keyword, I'm going to say select, asterisk from old student table. I don't actually have an old student table, so but bear with me, okay? And that would go in and do its thing. Maybe, right? Well, maybe I tell you, I probably would not use asterisk. I probably would go ahead and spell these guys out. Just to make dang sure. So this is what's called bulk insert. So I happen to have a table that had the old data, like from last semester or something, old student table. And I want to do this, so I just say insert into table, here's the things I want, and here's the select statement that produces that for me. Okay, I can't run this because I don't have a table called old student, but you kind of go see what's going on. Okay, now that we actually have enough information now that we can fix that multi-column problem. All right, so if you remember what this thing looks like, I'm going to go back to student and do a right click and show. I got a bunch of these phone guys out here, and I don't particularly like that. So I'm going to need to create me a new table, and I'm going to populate it by hand, not by hand, but by automatically. Okay, so here goes. So I'm going to create me a table, right? So we know how to do that. Create table. I'm going to call it student phone. Okay, makes sense. Remember, I start with parentheses, and I always close it with parentheses. Makes sense? Good. Okay, good. So basically all I need is I need a student ID, and that's going to be an integer. Now, in this case, this is the second time I've referenced this. The very first time I referenced it, I could make it an auto number, but now that I'm referencing it a second time, no. So I'm going to say not null. And then let's say one more time. Let's just say that there's particular logic in which phone number is first. Okay, I'm just saying. So I'm just going to call it phone order. And it's going to be an integer, and it's going to be not null. And then the actual phone number, which is a in var char. What did I make it? 15. Okay. Now, I'm going to need a primary key, aren't I? Right? We know all this stuff, so I'm going to go do a constraint. And I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it, I don't know, phone PK. Something like that. And what type is it? Well, it's a primary key. And it is student ID and the phone order. Whoop. Okay, am I done? Nope. I got a foreign key to build. Constraint phone FK foreign key, only if you spell it right. And the foreign key is going to be back to student, right? Student ID. References, and I need to give it both the table name and the thing. So that would be student ID. Am I done? Nope. Got to keep going. On delete, no action. And on update, no action. Now I'm done. Okay, this is going to build me a table. It's only got 3 columns in it. Okay, you ready? Let's do it. Boom. Okay, now it's time for us to populate this thing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say insert into student phone. I need to know the columns, right? So it's going to be student ID, phone order, and phone number. Okay. And then I'm going to use that select thing. Select student ID 1, an arbitrary number, right? Because I want this one to be the first number, okay? The phone, so that would be phone 1, where phone 1 is not null. Okay? That kind of makes sense. So I'm selecting the student. So one more time, let's go back to the student guide. So this script, dang it, is going to say, okay, I'm going to go grab phone 1 from this guy and phone 1 from that guy. Okay? Good. Let's try it. Haha, I forgot the from. Select from student. Okay, that'll probably make it work an awful lot better now. Boom. Okay, then all basically have to do now is to go here and say 2, 2, 2. Are you guys following me? Maybe I should have done this. Hang on a second. Maybe I should have done this in 2 separate steps or 3 separate steps. So it's going to be 3 of these guys. The first one's going to be a 1, 1, and 1. The third one is, this is going to be 2, 2, and 2. All right, so let's run this one. Oh, come on, machine, behave. And then we'll do a third one. Come on, how come this is not working right? This is driving me nuts. Or more nuts than I normally am. And this would be 3, 3, and 3. I'm not even sure I actually have any of those guys, but that's beside the point. Come on, don't give me a spinny. I'm trying to get some work done here. And ta-da! Okay, let's go look at our table and see what we got in it. So I'm going to go here to refresh. And there's my student phone guy. And let's go look at the thing. And so there we go. Student 1 has a phone 1. Student 1 has a phone 2. Student 3 has a phone 1. And so we have now solved the multi-column problem by taking data that used to be going horizontal and making it go vertical. Okay, now we're not done because we have some tidying up to do. So now that we've got this, I need to actually go in and whack that table and remove the phone columns. All right, because we don't need them anymore from student. I've solved the problem. So how do you do that? Alter table student, and then I can say drop column, and I can do more than one at a time. Like that. So when you're altering, dropping columns, okay, let's go check it out, make sure it works. I go here and say select, so now I don't have the column for the phones, and over here I do have the column for the phones. Yay! Okay, so we've now actually have all the information we need. We know how to alter tables, we know how to create new tables, we know how to do a bulk insert. Okay, good. So now we've done everything we need to do with the multi-column problem. Isn't that amazing? Okay. So let's look at the default configuration, the default column thing one more time. Let's say I was to create something. I'm going to kind of speed things up a little bit through the magic of video editing. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just build this table, right? And then we're going to do some inserts into it. So because I built a code thing, and I could just ignore it during an insert just because I told it was not null, okay? If I ignore it completely during an insert, it has to be filled in, right? I told it was not null. So insert into kumquat. If I just were to ignore it, right? And say kumquat ID first name, and just completely ignore that one. Okay? And then go in here and say values 10 Bob. All right, what's going to happen? In other words, not null. What does that? I can't have it null. So you would think if I can't have it null, the default is going to populate. Okay? Kind of makes sense? Okay, if I had done this with allowing nulls, then it would have not put something in there for me. Okay? But if I wanted the default, I would go in here and say code, and then I would just use I could put a number in, I could put in 12, or I could just use the word default like that. And that's another way of doing it. Okay? Okay, so both of these are perfectly okay. If you have null in there, it's a slightly different. So let's go look to see what our kumquat table actually has in it. So, you know, fairly obvious what it should have in it, but hey, you never know. And so it has 25 because I either left it off or I used the default keyword, one of the two. Okay. Now, let's try it one more time, except this time I said I want it not null. Remember? Okay, so let's go here, and let's do 30, and I don't know, Jane, and let's put null in here. All right. I told it it was not null, but I gave it a default. So is it, you know, it seems to me it's a contradiction. And it goes, no, man, I'm sorry. You know, you told it not null, you can't make it null. So the default fires on not null without too much trouble. Okay? All right. We're ready to move on to the next SQL statement. You guys ready? Woohoo! We got insert down. We got that perfect. Now it's the update command. So I already have data. I just want to make some changes. Cool. So for example, I go in here and I say update student. Set the major ID equal to 10. I'm going to go ahead and put where student ID is equal to 3 or 2 or something. 3. Okay, so now I'm going to the table and I'm just updating something. If I had more than one thing, if I could go here and say major ID, then I could say, you know, first name is equal to, I don't know, the person changed their name, so they're now Fred. Okay, that works. Okay? So I'm just going to run this, see if it works. Woohoo! Cool. So I've gone to wherever student ID 3 is, and I've changed the first name to Fred and the major ID to 10. Now, what would happen if I forgot to do the where clause? What would happen? Every student in the entire system is now going to be called Fred, and every student in the entire system is now going to have a major of accounting. Wow. So what I typically do, this is kind of a sort of a dangerous command, okay? What I do often is I do a dry run, and so basically I go in here and I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So I just want to do a select, asterisk from student where student ID, just to make dang sure that I'm actually getting what I want. So I run this and I go, yeah, okay, I like it. And then you'd run the update. So it's just me, before I delete a row or update a row, I kind of sort of want to know I'm making sure I'm talking to the exact same thing. Because if I got this typed wrong, oh boy, I've made a mess. Remember, there's no undo here. Okay, so now you've learned the update command. That was pretty easy. It's time to stop and go for another video break.